Hello my lovelies, it is time for another round of Have I Read It? So stay tuned. If you're new here, hi, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Have I Read It is one of my many TBR games that I play on this channel in order to pick my books for the month. And in this one, you have the opportunity to help select what I will be reading. And I will announce which books win when I do my wheel of TBR at the end of the month. But I'm going to go through and react to a haul from over 3 years ago. I'm going to tell you if I've read the book, haven't read the book, or unhauled the book, and stack up all the books here that I haven't read. And from those books, you get to vote for as many books as you want, which books you think I should read. And then based on the number of books in the stack, will determine how many books that I will have to select. So if you watched my last Have I Read It, I had like 27 books that I hadn't read in that haul. It was a lot. And so I ended up having to pick the top 3, or I'm going to have to pick the top 3 when voting is all done. And then I'm also going to have to add on however many from this one as well. And if I have between like 1 to 10 books, then I will have to only select the number 1 voted book. 11 to 20, the top 2, and so on and so on. So today I'm going to be reacting to my library sale book haul part 2. My last Have I Read It was the part 1. This one was posted on September 15th, 2018. There is quite a large stack, and I am quite concerned about this because of how the last one turned out. So I have my video all pulled up and I'm ready to get started. So let's see how we do. Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today we're doing part 2 of my library book sale haul. So stay tuned. So as you can see, I have another 2 huge stacks of books that I got from the library book sale. And these are all of the books that I was able to get for free, which is awesome. See, what they do is they have an Educators Day where teachers can get books for free. And then they also have the last day of this sale, all of the books are free. They just want to get them out there. So yeah, I got lots of free books. So I'm going to rotate this camera and we're going to get into this. So like I said, all of these books were free. If you want to see the ones that I purchased, which was a lot as well, make sure to check out part 1 of this library book sale haul. So the first 2 books that we have here are from the Alex Unlimited series. We have the Vossarack Code and True Chemistry, and these are by Dan Jolie. Okay, I think that these might be ones that are in my unhaul pile here, possibly, but I'm not 100% certain. So let me check. Okay, so these were not in my unhaul pile, but I think that they should be because I have book 1 and book 3. And book 1 is only like a 3.38 on Goodreads, and obviously I have not been drawn to these books, so I'm going to go ahead and stick them in my unhaul pile and mark those as unhauled. So let me get back to the video and we shall see what else we have next. Okay, next up we have Half-Blood by Jennifer L. Almentrout. Okay, I don't think I've read that one, but let me check. Okay, I have not read that one, but I absolutely want to. I have loved everything that I've read by Jennifer L. Almentrout, and so, yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. Hold on. Okay, so this is the first book in the Covenant series, and it said, could you kill the one you love? The Hematoi descend from the unions of gods and mortals, and the children of two Hematoi purebloods have godlike powers. Children of Hematoi and mortals, well, not so much. Half-bloods only have two options: become trained sentinels who hunt and kill demons, or become servants in the homes of the pures. 17-year-old Alexandria would rather risk her life fighting than waste it scrubbing toilets, but she may end up slumming it anyway. There are several rules that students at the Covenant must follow. Alex has problems with them all, but especially rule number 1. Relationship between pures and halves are forbidden. Unfortunately, she's crushing hard on the totally hot pureblood Aiden. But falling for Aiden isn't her biggest problem. Staying alive long enough to graduate the Covenant and become a Sentinel is. If she fails in her duty, she faces a future worse than death or slavery, being turned into a demon and being hunted by Aiden. And that would kind of suck. And like I said, I'm excited to read this, if not now, hopefully soon. But yes, if you want me to read this, vote Half-Blood. Alright, let's see what we have next. Okay, next up is Politically Correct Bedtime Stories, Modern Tales for Our Life and Times by James Finn Garner. I have read this, and I actually did like a little series on my channel where I was reading them in videos. Yeah, they're so much fun. I love them. If I can find those videos, I will link them up here for you. Okay, next up is Die For Me by Amy Plum. I'm not sure if I read that or not. Let me look. Okay, I have not read this, and it is the first book in a series, so let me go grab it. Okay, this one says, my life had always been blissfully, wonderfully normal, but it only took one moment to change everything. Suddenly, my sister Georgia and I were orphans. We put our lives into storage and moved to Paris to live with my grandparents, and I knew my shattered heart, my shattered life would never feel normal again. Then I met Vincent. Mysterious, sexy, and unnervingly charming, Vincent Delacroix appeared out of nowhere and swept me off my feet. Just like that, I was in danger of losing my heart all over again. But I was ready to let it happen. Of course, nothing is ever that easy, because Vincent is no normal human. He has a terrifying destiny, one that puts his life at risk every day. He also has enemies, immortal, murderous enemies who are determined to destroy him and all of his kind. While I'm fighting to piece together the remnants of my life, can I risk putting my heart, as well as my life and my family's, in jeopardy for a chance at love? And that's what this one's about. This one is also very intriguing. So if you want me to read this, vote Die For Me. Okay, let me get back to the video, and we will see what's next. Okay, next up we have The Widow by Fiona Barton. I have not read that. Let me make sure it's not part of a series. Okay, it is actually part of a series, but it is the first book. Let me go find that. Okay, this says, following the twists and turns of an unimaginable crime, The Widow is an electrifying debut thriller that will take you into the dark spaces that exist between a husband and a wife. When the police started asking questions, Jean Taylor turned into a different woman, one who enabled her and her husband to carry on when more bad things began to happen. But that woman's husband died last week, and Jean doesn't have to be her anymore. There's a lot Jean hasn't said over the years about the crime her husband was suspected of committing. She was too busy being the perfect wife, standing by her man, while living with the accusing glares and the anonymous harassment. Now there's no reason to stay quiet. There are people who want to hear her story, and they want to know what it was like living with that man. She can tell them that there were secrets. There always are in a marriage. The truth, that's all anyone wants. But one lesson Jean has learned in the last few years is that she can make people believe anything. Interesting. Okay, so if you want me to read this, vote The Widow. Alrighty. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, next we have Firestorm by Iris Johansson. Also haven't read this one. Let me see if it's part of a series. Okay, it is not part of a series, so let me go grab that. This says, #1 New York Times bestselling author Iris Johansson turns up the heat in this explosive new psychological thriller that will have readers turning pages as if they were burning. This time, a gifted arson investigator teams up with a mysterious operative to stop a killer raging completely out of control. For Carrie Murphy, the inferno is never far away. The flames of that long ago night still burn in her nightmares. The heat, the choking smoke, the helplessness. She can never run fast enough. Now Carrie works as an arson investigator with her evidence-sniffing dog, Sam. Together they're a great team, but only Carrie knows the real reason that they're so good at what they do. Only Carrie and someone from a past she thought she'd put far behind her. But all that is about to change in the time it takes to strike a match. Suddenly the flames are back, sweeping through her life, and this time Carrie may not be able to put them out. And now, from out of the ashes of another tragedy, a stranger appears. Who is Silver, and why does this mysterious man need her help? Even more disturbing, how does he already know so much about her? All Carrie is certain of is that he's come to enlist her in the hunt for a psychopath who has left a trail of gruesome fiery deaths in his charred wake. A human monster determined to bring his own private vision of hell to earth. But the killer Carrie is supposed to find has already found her, and in his twisted thoughts and burning obsessions, the nightmare of her own past threatens to ignite and destroy her. When tragedy strikes... Oh, there's more. Carrie's one hope is Silver, a man who seems to have no alliance to anyone and no authority to answer to. A dangerous man who seems to know Carrie's mind almost as well as she does herself. But even together, Carrie and Silver may have met their match in a killer as cold-hearted as his method is red-hot. And to save themselves and the innocent lives and the innocents whose lives are at stake, Carrie may have to reach deep into the very past that once already nearly destroyed her to do what she hoped she'd never have to do. Fight fire with fire. Okay. So if you want me to read this, vote Firestorm. Alright. Get back to the video. Next is another book that I actually got from Marty, and this is Beyond the Stars, Quest for Tomorrow, and it's a novel by William Shatner. Okay, so I'm marking this one as unhauled because this was one I got for Marty, so I don't have it. Next. Okay, next up we have Alone by Lisa Gardner. I have read Alone. That's the first book in the Detective D.D. Warren series. So yay, I've read one. Alright, next. Okay, next we have Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil by Jon Huckeby. I have not read this one, so let me go grab it. This is another long synopsis one. Alright, this says, shots rang out in Savannah's grandest mansion in the misty early morning hours of May 2nd, 1981. Was it murder or self-defense? For nearly a decade, the shooting and its aftermath reverberated through this hauntingly beautiful city of moss-hung oaks and shaded squares. Jon Huckabye's sharply observed, suspenseful, and witty narrative reads like a thoroughly engrossing novel, and yet it is a work of non-fiction. Huckabye skillfully interweaves a hugely entertaining first-person account of life in this isolated remnant of the Old South with the unpredictable twists and turns of a landmark murder case. It is a spellbinding story peopled by a gallery of remarkable characters, the well-bred society ladies of the Married Women's Card Club, the turbulent young redneck gigolo, the hapless recluse who owns a bottle of poison so powerful it could kill every man, woman, and child in Savannah, the aging and profane Southern belle who is the soul of pampered self-absorption, the uproariously funny black drag queen, the acerbic and arrogant antiquities dealer, the the sweet-talking piano-playing con artist, young blacks dancing the minuet at the black debutante ball, and Minerva, the voodoo priestess who works her magic in the graveyard at midnight. These and other Savannians act as a Greek chorus, with Berent revealing the alliances, hostilities, and intrigues that thrive in a town where everyone knows everyone else. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, a Savannah story, is a sublime and seductive reading experience. Brilliantly conceived and masterfully written, this enormously engaging portrait of a most beguiling southern city is certain to become a modern classic. And it was a bookmark that fell out, so if you want me to read this, vote Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. All right, next up. Okay, next up is a book that I think Xander actually picked up, but I thought would be interesting to read. It's called The Exploding Toilet: Modern Urban Legends, collected and retold by David Holt and Bill Mooney, authors of Spiders in the Hairdo. Okay, I'm pretty sure that that has been unhauled. Yeah, so I'm gonna mark that as unhauled. All right, next up. Okay, next up is The Fairest of Them All by Caroline Turgeon. I have read that one. Yay. Next. Okay, next up we have Mai Tai to Murder by Candy Calvert. Okay, I have not read that, but let me check and see if that's part of a series. Okay, so this is actually the third book in the series, and they don't have really great ratings, so I'm actually going to go ahead and put this in my unhaul pile and mark that as unhauled. Also, my battery is flashing, so let me change that out and I will be right back. Okay, I got my battery changed out. Let's get back to it. Okay, next up we have Hide by Lisa Gardner. Okay, this is an interesting twist because I forget which number in that series. Okay, Hide is part of the Detective D.D. Warren series. It's the second book. I've read the first book, and in my last Have I Read It, like the 7th or 8th book came up, and so I put Hide, since it was the next one in the series that I was to read, I put that in my Have I Read It. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do for that. If Hide doesn't get selected in that one, it will count in this one as well. So you could also vote for Hide in here. And if it does get selected, then I will go with the third book in the series, which I do not own. I'd have to either find it on Hoopla or Scribd or check it out at my library or something, but it's called The Neighbor. So for now, I'm just going to say, I'm going to put this other book in as a placeholder and say, if you want me to read Hide, vote for that. And Detective D.D. Warren series is, D.D. Warren is a Boston police detective. Okay, let me get back to the video, see what's next. Okay, next up we have The Whisperer by Donato Carsi. Okay, I don't think I've read this one, and I'm not sure if it's part of a series, so let me look it up. Okay, it is part of a series. It's called the Mila Vasquez series, but this is the first book in the series. So let me go grab that. Okay, this one says, 6 severed arms are discovered, arranged in a mysterious circle and buried in a clearing in the woods. 5 of them appear to belong to missing girls between the ages of 8 and 13. The 6th is yet to be identified. Worse still, the girls' bodies, alive or dead, are nowhere to be found. Lead investigators Mila Vasquez, a celebrated profiler, and Gorgon Gavila, an prescient criminologist, dive into the case. They're confident they've got the right suspect in their sights until they discover no link between him and any of the kidnappings except the first. The evidence in the case of the second missing child points in a vastly different direction, creating more questions than it answers. Vasquez and Gavila begin to wonder if they've been brought in to take the fall in a near hopeless case. Is it all coincidence, or is a copycat criminal at work? Obsessed with a case that becomes more tangled and intense as they unravel the layers of evil, Gavila and Vasquez find that their lives are increasingly in each other's hands. The Whisperer, as sensational a bestseller in Europe as the Stieg Larsson novels, is that rare creation, a thought-provoking, intelligent thriller that is also utterly unputdownable. Alright, so if you want me to read this, vote The Whisperer. Whisperer. Alright, let's see what's next. Okay, next we have Spirit Bound, a Vampire Academy novel by Rochelle Mead. Okay, I don't think I've read any of the Vampire Academy novels. Let me check. And do I even have this? I don't know. Let me see. Okay, so I have several books in this series. I have books 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's all of them that I have. So it looks like, with the exception of like the novellas, I have all of them except for the first book. And I looked on Hoopla and on Scribd, and they weren't on either of those. So if you want me to read Vampire Academy, I'll have to either see if my library, actually, let me check. Okay, so my library does have Vampire Academy. And it looks like they have an audiobook of it too. I don't know how long the wait is for it, but so if you want me to read Vampire Academy, I'll have to check it out, because I do have the rest of the series. So I have it pulled up on Goodreads so I can tell you about Vampire Academy. It says, only a true best friend can protect you from your immortal enemies. Lisa Dragomir is a Mori princess, a mortal vampire with a rare gift for harnessing the earth's magic. She must be protected at all times from Strigoi, the fiercest vampires, the ones who never die. The powerful blend of human and vampire blood that flows through Rose Hathaway, Lisa's best friend, makes her a Dafir. Rose is dedicated to a dangerous life of protecting Lisa from the Strigoi, who are hell-bent on making Lisa one of them. After 2 years of freedom, Rose and Lisa are caught and dragged back to St. Vladimir's Academy, a school for vampire royalty and their guardians-to-be, hidden in the deep forests of Montana. But inside the Iron Gates, life is even more fraught with danger, and the Strigoi are always close by. Rose and Lisa must navigate their dangerous world, confront the temptations of forbidden love, and never once let their guard down, lest the evil undead make Lisa one of them forever. Okay, so I'm just going to put Spirit Bound in its place, but if you want me to read that, vote Vampire Academy. Alright, let's see what's next. Okay, next up we have Above by Leah Bobbitt. I have not read that. Hold on. Okay. Let me make sure that this isn't part of a series. Okay, so I was looking to see if this was part of a series, and I saw that it does not have really good rating on Goodreads. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and unhaul this one. Stick it there. Mark it as unhauled instead of unread. And we will continue on. Okay, next up we have The First Wife by Erica Spindler. Okay, I have not read that. Let me go grab it. Okay, so I found it, but I'm going to mark this one instead of unread. I'm going to mark this one as unhauled because I was checking and this doesn't have great ratings either, so I'm not as interested. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that in my... Ooh. I'm going to fix this pile and I'll be right back. Okay, continuing on. Okay, so that's the first big stack. Let me move these out of the way so I can get to the other big stack behind it. And here is the other big stack of books. Okay, so the first book here is A Reliable Wife by Robert Goulrick. I have not read that, but let me check Goodreads real quick. Okay. This one also does not have good ratings, so I'm going to mark this one as unhauled as well. All right, moving on. Okay, next up is Sweet Unrest by Lisa Maxwell. Okay, I have to look for this one as well because I'm pretty sure Sweet Unrest is part of a series. Yes, but it's the first book in the series, so let me grab that. Okay, here we go. This one says, New Orleans, a world where souls walk free and dreams become powerful portraits to the past. For as long as she can remember, Lucy Ames has been plagued by a dark reoccurring dream of drowning. But when her family moves to an old plantation outside New Orleans, she starts having intense new dreams, vivid scenes of a bygone era filled with people she shouldn't know but does. Searching for answers to her haunting visions, Lucy reluctantly descends into the city's mystical culture. What she finds is Alex, a charming but mysterious boy who behaves as if they've known each other forever. Lucy shouldn't be so drawn to him, but she is. As she tries to solve the mystery surrounding Alex, a centuries-old vendetta unspools around her, resulting in a vicious murder. Now trapped in a dangerous crossfire, Lucy must act fast to save her future and everyone she loves. So if you want me to read this, vote Sweet Unrest. All right, we're up to 9 books already. And I think we're a little over halfway. Maybe 2/3, not quite 2/3, I don't think. Okay, continuing on. Okay, so here, as you can see, they're very dark. This is a collection of some classics. This is the International Adventure Library. So this one is Dracula. I don't think I've ever actually read Dracula. But before I get up to go and get that, I'm just going to tell you which of these I've read of those, of that little set, and which I haven't. And then I can go get all of the ones that I haven't, which is probably going to be most of them. Alright, so I haven't read Dracula. Next. And this one is Clique of Scotland Yard. I have not read that either. Next. And then this one is The Hollow Needle, an adventure story by Maurice LeBlanc. Also haven't read The Hollow Needle. Next. Next we have The White Waterfall. Haven't read The White Waterfall. Next. Then we have Tales of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Conan Doyle. Okay, I have read some of those tales of Sherlock Holmes, but not all of them. So I don't know what's in that particular book. I'm kind of afraid to read these books because they're all like super old, and I feel like those are more collectors, I think. So maybe I won't. Maybe I'll count those in my haven't read, but not put them in my stack and not have them as part of my stack, just because I don't really want to mess those books up because they are really old ones. So I think they're going to kind of go with my more antique books that I have. What are y'all's thoughts on the whole antique book thing. Would you read it, or would you want to like preserve it because they are really old? I will go ahead, like I said, and tell you if I've read it or not and mark it up there, but I'm not going to count it towards this. This one is the Devils Admiral by Frederick Ferdinand Moore. I also haven't read the Devils Admiral. And then the Crystal Stopper. This is also written in here, January 1622. The Crystal Stopper is also by Maurice LeBlanc, and it's another adventure story. I haven't read the Crystal Stopper. Okay, so those are all of those, and like I said, I'm not going to get them off my shelves right now, so, and I'm not going to add them to this pile. But that's the last of those. Now continuing on with the rest of the not antique books. Okay, next we have Thriller, Stories to Keep You Up All Night, edited by James Patterson. And it looks like there's a lot of authors for this book. Okay, so this is an anthology. I don't think I've read it, but I'm going to double check. Okay, here we go. This says, be prepared to be thrilled as you've never been before. Featuring North America's foremost thriller authors, Thriller is the first collection of pure thriller stories ever published, offering up heart-pumping tales of suspense. In all its guises are 32 of the most critically acclaimed and award-winning names in the business. From the signature characters that made such authors as David Morrell and John Lescroart famous to 4 of the hottest new voices in the genre, this blockbuster will tantalize and terrify. Lock the doors, draw the shades, pull up the covers, and be prepared for Thriller to keep you up all night. So if you want me to read this, vote Thriller. Alright, let's see what else we've got. Next we have, oh, this is a heavy book. Lovers and Liars by Sally Bowman. I have not read that. Hold on. Okay, so I have looked at this book so many times, and I've never really had the urge to pick it up and read it. And it's a big chunky one. And the rating on Goodreads is a 3.45. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and mark this one as unhauled as well. Alright, next up. Sorry if there is an angle change, but again, my battery died. Okay, so next up we have The It Girl by Cecily von Zygesar, who is the author of the Gossip Girl books. Okay, let me check out this one real quick. Okay, I'm pretty sure that I've actually unhauled that one. So let's continue on. Okay, next up we have Hunger by Jackie Morse Kessler. Okay, I don't remember anything about this book. Let me see if I still have it. This is a short one. It's only 177 pages. This says, Elizabeth Lewis has a black steed, a set of scales, and a new job. She's been appointed famine. How will an anorexic 17-year-old girl from the suburbs fare as one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? Traveling the world on her steed gives Lisa freedom from her troubles at home, her constant battle with hunger, and the struggle to hide it from the people who care about her. But being famine forces her to go places where hunger is a painful part of everyday life, and to face the horrifying effects of her awesome new power. Can Lisa find a way to harness that power and the courage to fight her own inner demons? So if you want me to read this, vote Hunger. So that put us at 11 so far, which means I'm going to have to take the top 2 books. Okay, let me get back to the video. We're getting close to the end though, so let's continue on. Okay, so the next book we have here is Shut Down, a glitch novel by Heather Anastasio. Okay, I need to see if this is a first book or something else in a series. Okay, so my SD card filled up and my battery died. So I don't know if you caught all of that I said before, but here is Shut Down. This is the third book in the Glitch series. I do not have the first two, and I don't really care enough to bother to get them. So I'm just going to mark this one as unhauled. Okay, continuing on. Okay, next we have Into the Still Blue by Veronica Rossi. I have not read that one. So apparently that's book 3 in the Under the Never Sky series. But book 1 has good ratings, so I'm going to see if I can find book 1 and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've grabbed Into the Still Blue for a placeholder. I looked and I could get the first book, which is Under the Never Sky, on Hoopla or Scribd, so I could read the first book in that. Okay, so I pulled it up on Goodreads so I could tell you about it. It says, worlds kept them apart, destiny brought them together. Arya has lived her whole life in the protected dome of Reverie, her entire world confined to its spaces. She's never thought to dream of what lies beyond its doors. So when her mother goes missing, Arya knows her chances of surviving in the outer wasteland long enough to find her are slim. Then Arya meets an outsider named Perry. He's searching for someone too. He's also wild, a savage, but might be her best hope at staying alive. If they can survive, they are each other's best hope for finding answers. So if you want me to read this, vote, or the first one, vote Under the Never Sky. All right, we're getting pretty close to the end. Let's see what else we've got left. Okay, then the last book I have here is Shadow Fever by Karen Marie Moning. Okay, so I have read several books in this series. I don't know if I've read that particular one. I'm not sure if I got all the way to that. It was many years ago that I read any of the Fever series, and I freaking loved it. I do not have the first book, which is Dark Fever. Let me see if I can find that. Okay, Dark Fever, which is the first book, is on Scribd. I would definitely have to start over with this series because, like I said, it's been many years. And I remember, like, the overall gist of at least the first book, but I would definitely need to reread it. And I want to read that entire series. All right, let me see. Okay, so I went ahead and grabbed Shadow Fever so I could put it as a placeholder. But I will read what it says on Goodreads about Dark Fever. My name is Michaela, Mac for short. I'm a Sidseer, one who sees the Fae, a fact I accepted only recently and very reluctantly. My philosophy is pretty simple. Any day nobody's trying to kill me is a good day in my book. I haven't had many good days lately. Not since the walls between man and Fae came down. But then there's not a Sidseer alive who's had a good day since then. When Michaela's sister was murdered, she left a single clue to her death, a cryptic message on Mac's cell phone. Journeying to Ireland in search of answers, Mac is soon faced with an even greater challenge, staying alive long enough to master a power she had no idea she possessed, a gift that allows her to see beyond the world of man into the dangerous realm of Fae. As Mac delves deeper into the mystery of her sister's death, her every move is shadowed by the dark, mysterious Jericho, while at the same time, the ruthless Blaine, an alpha Fae who makes sex an addiction for human women, closes in on her. As the boundary between the worlds begins to crumble, Mac's true mission becomes clear, to find the elusive Sinsar Dub before someone else claims the all-powerful Dark Book, because whoever gets to it first holds nothing less than complete control of both worlds in their hands. And it was so good. So I really want to get back into that series. Okay, I think that's, yeah, that was the last one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books here for you to vote from, and I will pick the top two voted books. You have all the way until I film my Wheel of TBR, which will be a little earlier than normal this month just because of a trip I'm going to be taking. So I have to film kind of in advance. I'd say you probably have until about May 20th to vote because after that I'll have to film and edit and everything. Well, there were a lot of excellent choices for you to pick through on this one. I also managed to get rid of quite a bit in this video, which is also very good because I need space because I've got even more books to put on my shelves. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye.